Time now for business, and for that I'm joined in the studio by Stephen Carroll. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Hexie.
We're starting with the latest troubles in the Chinese property market.
And we've got another name to add to that list of property developers in trouble in China. The Kaisa Group has suspended trading in its shares in Hong Kong today as it faces a deadline to repay $400 million worth of debt by tomorrow. The company said it was taking this step pending an announcement. Now, Kaisa is a much smaller player than Evergrande in the Chinese real estate market, but it does also have massive debt and, importantly, massive holdings of foreign debt. That has been enough to spook investors that it may not be able to meet its obligations. It's the second time the company has suspended trading in its shares in the last month.
And how are the markets reacting, Stephen?
Well, there have been worries over the Chinese property sector for quite a long time in the markets, and investors have been concerned about this issue for quite some time. Evergrande's shares tumbling to a record low again today. That's after it missed a deadline to repay foreign debt earlier in the week. We can see that weighing on the Hang Seng in Hong Kong, which is down slightly, whereas we're seeing gains on the other Asian markets in trading today. European shares starting the day mostly up, small gains in London and in Paris, just Frankfurt dipping into the red there at the start of trading.
Heading now out to the United Arab Emirates, a big change there in the working week.
From January, the UAE will move to a Monday to Friday working week as opposed to its current Sunday to Thursday. The change will come into effect first in the public sector and in schools, with private sector employers left to make the changes that they see fit. It is a big change in the Gulf, though, with the goal of syncing up the UAE with other international business hubs. Selena Sykes has the story.
A change of routine in the United Arab Emirates. From the 1st of January, the oil-rich state will change its working week and move its weekend to Saturday and Sunday in a major shift aimed at improving competitiveness and work-life balance, a decision welcomed by many foreign workers.
I think we are in line with the international markets now, and being from the financial sector, it makes a difference because it gives you another day, to do the required tasks and stuff. So I think it's good from an international point of view.
Sync up time with our overseas client, customers and vendors has actually increased, so we welcome the change.
The move will see the UAE part ways with its neighbours in the Gulf, where the weekend begins on Friday, a holy day of worship in Islam. Instead, the country will shift to a 4.5-day working week, with activities ending at midday on Friday ahead of prayers. A decision which the government said will better align its economy with global markets.
This change will enhance the integration of the banking sector in the UAE with the banking community internationally. It will eliminate the gap that existed in the past.
Public companies and schools will follow the change, while private businesses will be free to choose their own working week. The switch is the latest of a series of measures to make the UAE more attractive to investment and foreign workers, who make up the majority of the population. Over the past year, the country has decriminalised the consumption of alcohol and premarital sexual relations, and has introduced a limited pathway to citizenship for foreigners.
And in the United States, Stephen, politicians making moves to avoid a government debt default once again.
The House of Representatives has approved a plan to raise the federal government's borrowing limit and dodge a default that could be catastrophic for the global economy. The bill can now be passed by a simple majority in the Senate, which should avoid long negotiations with Republicans. The party's leader in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, signalling the Republicans would facilitate the debt increase, saying that it's in the best interest of the country to avoid default. If passed, this would give the American government enough borrowing power to last until next November's midterm elections.
And a technical problem at Amazon has caused widespread disruption on the internet.
It's an outage at Amazon's web services that hid access to the company's own e-commerce website, but also to the likes of Disney Plus and Netflix, which were disrupted for several hours. Amazon says the problem was related to network devices and that service has now mostly been restored. But on social media, people reported problems not only with accessing certain websites, but also with security cameras and even robot vacuum cleaners that use Amazon's web services.
I think I'd quite like to see images of that, but I'll have to go onto the internet to find that. Finally from you, a red letter day for a Los Angeles landmark.
The red letters are coming down on the Staples Center in LA. It's part of a rebrand that was announced last month. It'll officially become the Crypto.com Arena on Christmas Day. The Associated Press reporting that the name change was part of a $700 million deal with the cryptocurrency website, venue home to basketball teams like the Lakers, the Clippers and the Sparks. I do wonder, will people still just automatically call it the Staples Centre, even when it's changed name?
I can only assume they will, at least for a while.
At least for a while.
Stephen Carroll with the day's top business stories. Thank you very much.